I'm the young master of the capital circle's dog. The biting kind. I was wagging my tail at Wesley shirtless when I suddenly transformed into human form. The young master, who strikes fear into the heart of capital city, blushed crimson. He wrapped his arm around my waist, stuttering, "Dee, don't wiggle your butt like that." Everyone knows that Wesley, the young master of the capital circle, is ruthless, refined, and cold. He loves nothing more than to coldly watch others break down while he gets things done. He enjoys shattering people's pride, watching one's unyielding spirits willingly kneel and beg for mercy. Women adore his nonchalant air, his flirtatious, smiling eyes. Men fear his ruthlessness, dread his powerful connections, and are also afraid of his dog. That's me. That's right, I'm the dog Wesley raises. The biting kind. Wesley takes me everywhere, and it's fair to say I've bitten my way across capital city. Beneath his glamorous exterior lies a ruthless heart, I always knew that. He orders the servants to feed me well every day, so when he needs me, I'm vicious and merciless. At first, I was a bit hesitant, unable to bite down hard. But then, after witnessing one companion after another become dog meat hot pot because they weren't fierce enough, I got scared. To bite with enough ferocity and satisfy Wesley, I discovered a great method: going crazy. A qualified mad dog is scary even to myself when I'm on a rampage. When everyone is scared and retreats, only Wesley will smile and gently stroke me. "Nancy, good girl, the fifth rib on the left isn't broken yet, go give it another bite." I shared a pitying look with the big brother writhing on the ground, silently praying for him, and then bit down. He whimpered a few times and then went silent. But Wesley still wore his gentle smile. That's why I never imagined that the invincible Wesley would be so innocent. The accident came suddenly. Wesley is always surrounded by all kinds of women, but as his due. Gee, I know he's never had any deep interactions with any of them. Pure, seductive, intellectual, aloof, goofy, anything you can imagine, Wesley's seen it. I once suspected that Wesley didn't like women. But who he likes has nothing to do with me. After all, I'm just a dog. Besides biting people for him, all I can do is go crazy, eat meat, and wag my tail. I'm always fed by the servants. That day, Wesley came to my doghouse himself, carrying an iron bucket bigger than he was, filled with my favorite chunks of meat. My dog eyes lit up, and I uncontrollably fixed my gaze on the meat. The meal today is especially generous. My short legs scurried to Wesley, and I stood on my hind legs and hugged him with my front paws. Woof woof! Feed me! At this moment, even as a noble female Tibetan mastiff, I couldn't care less about anything else and started licking his face like crazy. I licked, I licked, I licked. Woof! Feed me! Wesley put down the iron bucket and held me up, a hint of barely perceptible fondness on his delicate face. "Nancy, don't be impatient." I looked at him with my big, wet eyes. Was I not licking hard enough, so he wouldn't feed me immediately? Thinking of this, I whimpered twice, let go of him, anxiously turned around twice, and then pounced on Wesley and wagged my tail. Woof, woof woof! Look at my tail, wagging and wagging, how happy it is. Meat 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 meat. Feed me. Wesley helplessly raised his hand to pat my dog head, but suddenly the world spun, and my perspective became several centimeters lower. I, who could easily lick Wesley before, could only barely reach his chin. Wesley also visibly froze on the spot. I felt an unprecedented lightness in my body. Could it be that I'm shedding my skin like the snake next door? I tried to look up at Wesley, and although I was confused, I still didn't forget to wag my tail and beg for food. Something felt strange. But all I could think about was meat. Delicious meat, sweet meat. Logically speaking, Wesley should reward me with a couple of pieces for working this hard. But now, he looked away, put his arm around my waist, and took off his coat to cover me. The always calm and charming young master, who struck fear into the heart of Capital City, suddenly blushed crimson. He stuttered, "Don't wiggle your butt like that." I didn't understand. I was clearly wagging my tail. How did it become wiggling my butt? At this moment, I clearly hadn't realized the seriousness of the situation. Wesley was acting strangely, and I really couldn't stand it anymore. I pushed him away, got down on all fours, and anxiously circled the iron bucket. But as soon as I got close to the iron bucket, I smelled a bloody and pungent odor that made a dog want to vomit. I habitually stopped and sniffed, and the bloody smell was even stronger. This seems to be the smell of raw meat? I was a little confused. Shouldn't the smell of meat be sweet and delicious? Why did I feel like vomiting as soon as I got close? Before I could even wonder, I suddenly realized that the clothes Wesley had draped over me were slipping off. I looked down and saw hands. What the F***? I subconsciously exclaimed, and then realized that I was speaking human language. I was shocked. I stiffly turned my head to look at the man next to me, whose face was completely red, and my brain crashed for a moment before I looked down at myself again. Oh boy. Great. Stark naked. It took me a full minute to accept the fact that I had become a human, and then I uncomfortably twisted my body, trying to stand up. But I had never stood upright before, so my limbs were uncoordinated, and I looked like an idiot. I cried and wailed to Wesley, I look like a dumbass. Wesley's face, which had been flushed, darkened instantly when he heard me curse. His face was as black as ink, and his tone was cold. Who taught you to talk like that? I could hear the danger in his words, but at this moment, I was completely manic because I couldn't walk properly. After trying for the N+1th time and still failing to stand upright normally, I completely lost it. I randomly manipulated my limbs, learning to twist and crawl like an octopus, moving darkly. Ah! What's going on? What's going on? I screamed, pulling my hair, rolling around like a tornado, sweeping through the entire room like locusts, jumping, crawling, going crazy, completely crazy. I had obviously forgotten that I was no longer a mad dog, but a woman, a completely uncensored woman. When I was still a dog, this might have been scary, but... Wesley grabbed me with a dark expression. Looking at his stormy expression, my dog heart sank. Was I going to be made into dog meat hot pot? Fortunately, I had become a human and wasn't made into dog meat hot pot. But it was terrifying because I had become a woman. Wesley is never short of women. As a good dog, suddenly having to integrate into human society was almost impossible. I had to find a way to stay by Wesley's side. Master. I tearfully and pitifully tugged at his clothes, raising my face to lick his hand. Wesley stopped my movement with a stern face. His veins were bulging, and he looked like a storm was about to break. Spit it out. Oh. I changed my face in a second, and said quickly, Master, keep me, I'm useful, I won't be a burden. Wesley took a deep breath to suppress the violence in his heart, and said in a suppressed voice, Who did you learn that accent from? I blinked in confusion. It's Old Wong, Old Lee, Big D, and Little D around Master, they all talk like this. He frowned with a headache, and his well-defined fingers pressed against his tightly knitted brows. Well said, change it. The Wesley family doesn't support idlers. Prove your usefulness within a week. If I'm satisfied, stay. Otherwise, get out. Listening to Wesley's cold and heartless word. My dog head shed tears. He really wasn't giving me any chances. A dog's life is hard. I lost sleep again for a whole night, just like the last time I witnessed my companions being made into dog meat hot pot. How could I prove my value? Wesley doesn't lack fighters, or money, or women. He doesn't lack people to make him happy, or flatterers. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck me. Wesley lacks a dog army. I remembered a long time ago when my brothers and sisters in the Wesley family were pitifully few. Later, the Wesley family only had me left. Now, even the last one is gone. If I could gather an entire dog army for him, he would definitely be moved to tears. Who can resist dogs? I would not only gather a dog army for Wesley, but I would also give him a sea, land, and air force. When the time comes, he would definitely cry and keep me in the Wesley family. Easier said than done. I specifically experimented with it these days. Although I had become a useless woman, I could still understand the language of animals. For the sea, land, and air forces, I definitely had to start with my dog army first. I racked my brains to think about where there would be dogs. Soon, I settled on a target. I found my former nemesis, a big black dog from Old Wong's house next door. Since becoming a woman, Wesley had humanely arranged a new room, new clothes, and even various cosmetics and skincare products for me. He really was amazing, I could cry. When Big Black saw me, it immediately wagged its tail and rubbed against me. Its tail wagged so fast, its dog mouth was wide open, drooling, and it circled my legs seductively. Woof! Woof woof! It looked very serious, but in reality, it was saying, hiss hiss, beautiful woman, let's get close. Damn! I didn't expect Big Black, who used to fight to the death with me, to be such a pervert. I hooked up the corners of my mouth and raised a kind smile, bent down and stroked Big Black's dog head. It was so excited that it almost fa. Int. Woof. Woo-woo, I'm so happy, beautiful lady stepping on me. I smiled even more brightly, softening my eyebrows and meeting Big Black's gaze. Ah. She's looking at me. Am I falling in love? I ruthlessly shattered its fantasies and said in dog language, you little bastard, don't you even recognize your dad? Big Black was confused for a moment, and then its dog eyes widened and it retreated 10,000 steps. What the F asterisk CK? Who are you? How can you speak dog language? I looked at this stupid dog with pity. Don't you recognize your dad who bit his way across Capital City? You unfilial son. Big Black's head couldn't turn around. It actually fainted. When Big Black woke up again, it was faced with my beautiful face. It almost fainted again. Woof. Are you that B asterisk TCH from Wesley's house? I took advantage of the fact that I was now in human form, grabbed its ears and twisted them 360 degrees, twisting them so hard that it howled. Sis! 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 I was wrong. Stop it. I won't, unless you promise me something. I felt like after I became a human, my IQ had surpassed their countless dog lives by a large margin. I used to just blindly go crazy, but now I would go crazy with a plan. As expected, Big Black surrendered. You say it, as long as it's not too much, I promise. I showed a treacherous, successful smile, and then told Big Black my plan. Unexpectedly, Big Black was so anxious that it jumped up and down. Woof woof! You want me to go with Wesley? No way, absolutely impossible. Old Wong raised me with a handful of sh*t and a handful of p. I can't, absolutely can't betray Old Wong. I coaxed it like a temptation. I'm not asking you to betray Old Wong, I'm just asking you to fill the ranks for me. Think about it, if you follow Wesley, you'll have countless of the best quality fresh meat every day, as well as the cleanest and most comfortable house, and a dozen servants will take care of you in shifts every day. Big Black's originally firm expression gradually softened, and in the end, it even became erratic. Drool was flowing down again. How about it? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Woof! Deal! Hearing this, I curled up the corners of my mouth and raised a big smile. It's not that I'm saying it, but although dogs are good, they are really stupid. Too simple, really easy to fool. After finalizing the plan, it was late at night. I returned to the Wesley family, but found that the living room lights were still on. Wesley sat lazily on the sofa with his legs crossed, his white shirt sleeves rolled up, revealing the smooth and powerful lines of his forearms. Gold-rimmed glasses rested on his high nose bridge, giving him a scholarly and depraved, yet abstinent beauty. But his powerful aura often made people ignore his overly handsome face. Although I was afraid of him, I don't know why, but I suddenly seemed to understand those women who rushed forward one after another. It's really amazing. That waist, that butt. I couldn't help but shed tears from the corners of my mouth. While indulging in the beauty, I suddenly heard a low, magnetic voice ring out. What are you standing there for? Come here. It took me a long time to react before I realized that Wesley was calling me. I couldn't help but wiggle my butt and approach him. Seeing Wesley's face, I used to habitually kneel beside him, but now, woo-woo, I wanted to kneel even more. Wesley's eyelids twitched almost imperceptibly. He seemed to have gotten used to ignoring my bizarre behavior. A warm palm pressed against my butt, and my face flushed. Ouch, what are you doing? I twisted my voice coquettishly, and Wesley wasn't surprised. He was still indifferent, looking down at me. Where did you go? I rubbed my head against his calf, and said softly, I'm proving my worth to you. He suddenly became interested, put down the newspaper in his hand, bent down and pinched my chin, and his sharp long eyes hooked into mine. His voice was hoarse, and his tone was raised. I blinked at him, it's a secret. Wesley suddenly smiled. I was momentarily hooked by the smile. The hand on my chin tightened, and although he was smiling, his tone was suddenly sinister. Just like when he was talking to those about to die. You've learned to keep secrets? I suddenly came back to my senses. In that instant, my brain turned faster than ever before, flashing through all kinds of solutions, but in the end, oh, woof. I uncontrollably supported myself on the floor with my limbs and bounced twice, then jumped onto the sofa and rolled around frantically, rolling, climbing frantically, twisting, convulsing, roaring, wriggling, growling darkly, crawling, splitting, twisting, backflipping and screaming, howling like ghosts. Wesley was stunned, and I had no brain either. When my body reflexively did these actions, I even felt like I wasn't a dog, and I wasn't a person. I was a monkey, flying into the primeval forest, swinging on vines, knocking away monkeys who were passing by and eating bananas, roaring, swinging on vines, knocking away monkeys who were passing by and eating bananas. The weird and terrifying expression on Wesley's face disappeared. Presumably, he had also turned into a monkey. It was amazing that I had escaped a disaster by going crazy. The dog that I was once favored by Wesley because I was a mad dog. Could it be said that Wesley likes crazy people? Is it because he's usually been holding back for too long, so he likes crazy people and pets to relieve his stress? I seemed to have discovered the truth. But I didn't dare to guarantee that he would definitely keep me in the Wesley family if I went crazy. There were still 5 days left until the 1-week countdown. I dragged Big Black to the biggest garbage dump in Capit Owl City. I brazenly sat down on a pile of garbage, put a custom-made loudspeaker by my side, pressed the play button, and the voice that I had Big Black record in advance suddenly rang out. Woof woof. Woof. Woof 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 woof. The strongest dog king, come and fight if you don't agree. I, Big Black, will dominate the entire capital city today. Soon, the loudspeaker attracted a bunch of ferocious stray dogs. I sat on the garbage mountain and looked down at them, and Big Black stood proudly by my side with its chest out. At first glance, it really looked like something. Our arrogant appearance angered the stray dogs. They started barking. Woof, woof, woof. How dare you be so presumptuous and claim to be king on Garbage Mountain? You pampered dog is nothing but a fancy dog, how can you compare to Ash? Woof. Woof. That's right. That's right. Ash will beat it up. As the dogs shouted, a one-eyed dog with an ash-gray body walked out. It was ferocious, but it was still not as good as me. It wanted to start a fight with Big Black, but it was interrupted by Big Black's disdain. Stop, you fight with my strategist first. If you can't even beat her, then you're not worthy to fight me. Ash's eyes were burning, and it bared its teeth. Strategist? That's right. At this moment, I stood up, twisted my neck, and squeezed my fists, and my bones made a cracking sound. Dogs who knew me knew that I was about to go crazy. But Ash obviously didn't know. It was still very disdainful. You weak human? Although I don't know why you can speak dog language, if we fight, you will die a miserable death. Is that so? Then, before Ash could react, I directly fell to the ground and started crying loudly. I'm broken, I'm really broken. I lost all my armor because of your one sentence. The moment you exposed me, I was sweating profusely, my whole body was cold, and my depression instantly broke out. Like a scion who was caught by the tail and a sea stone user stripping the tail beast from its jinchuriki, I'm really broken. Woo woo. I wailed and cried, how sad. Even Big Black was confused. I continued to yell. I feel like you guys are so interesting, unlike me, not only can I not join in the conversation, but I'm also treated like a stupid dog who ruins the atmosphere. I'm autistic and have no friends in real life, and I'm treated coldly even online. Every time I organize my words for a long time, it's like a lump in my throat. When had a group of stupid dogs ever seen such a situation? They saw me crying my eyes out, and they panicked. One by one, they surrounded me and licked me with their tongues. Woof, woof, woof. Dee, don't cry. Did you encounter any difficulties? We can help you. Oh boy. I immediately did a carp jump, looked at Ash with teary eyes, and said cautiously, really? Woof. The Paw Patrol never lies. Just like that. The Paw Patrol, which didn't have a high IQ, was recruited into the land army of the Wesley Army. Although they felt like something was wrong afterward, they still couldn't figure out what was wrong. After all, how could the IQ of an ordinary dog compare to the former dog king with a human brain? After successfully recruiting the Paw Patrol, I started preparing for the Navy and Air Force. In the human world, it was legal to raise. I decided on parrots that could school people and turtles with full defensive stats. When the time came, the Paw Patrol, the logistics team, and the cheerleaders would all be there. Wouldn't it be impressive to stand behind Wesley? But before I had time to recruit the logistics team and the cheerleaders, Wesley gave me a mission: accompany me back to the Wesley family manor tomorrow. The manor? I was a little confused. This was the first time I had heard Wesley mention the manor. When I was a dog, I vaguely heard the servants say that Wesley's parents lived in the manor. So, he was going to take me to meet his parents? But there were only 4 days left to prove my worth. Next, I might have to send the Paw Patrol to recruit the other 2 teams for me first. The day Wesley took me back to the manor, it rained heavily. The sky was gloomy and the clouds were heavy. The former me loved to roll around in puddles. But now, Wesley discovered my intention, and his mood was as bad as the weather. He glanced at me with a warning look. I immediately became honest and sat up straight. When we arrived at the manor, Wesley suddenly bent his arm, signaling me, "Hold on." Me? I didn't understand, but I still did as he said. Soon, I realized that something was wrong. The young master of the capital circle, whose every micro-expression made the entire capital city wary, the powerful and ruthless Wesley, was actually so unloved by his parents. He said that I was his girlfriend, but from the moment Wesley's parents saw me, they didn't have a good look on their faces. "You still know how to come back to this house?" At the dinner table, his mother picked up the faults with a sharp tongue. "I really don't know how the Wesley family produced a devil like you. If it weren't for your brother, the Wesley family wouldn't be up to you. Your wings are hardened? You don't even come back to the manor anymore? You really think you're something." Throughout the meal, Wesley's mother's accusations didn't stop. His dad also kept a straight face, silently putting pressure on him. Wesley uncharacteristically ate with his eyes down, not like his usual flamboyant self. I turned my head to look at him, his back was straight, and his wide clothes made his figure look particularly thin. But the careful me noticed that he was trembling almost imperceptibly. Damn! The dog couldn't stand it. Even if they were Wesley's parents, they couldn't bully Wesley in front of me, the former dog king. His mother was still nagging, "How old are you, and you only bring your GI. Roll friend home now? People who don't know might think you're mentally ill." "Aunt," I interrupted her with a smile. "Uncle." Then I turned my head to Wesley's dad. Before the 2 of them could react, I stood up with a smile. Wesley was also stunned for a moment. "Wesley, what kind of person did you bring back? How can you be so impolite? What are you doing standing up at the dinner table?" "Soon, I'll let you know what I'm doing." I always had a gentle smile on my face, and my fingers were tightly clasped on the edge of the table. Crash! The entire table, along with the delicate tableware and all kinds of dishes, fell on Wesley's parents. The heavy table hit them, the soup and water soaked their heads, and the fine porcelain dishes shattered into pieces. I waved my arm and swept away the surviving decorations. B*TCH 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 your mother. Are you a pager? I grabbed the persimmons, bananas, durians, apples, strawberries, and kiwis from the side, and threw them all at Wesley's bewildered parents' heads. Scold, 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 did Wesley beg you to give birth to him? Did he beg you to give birth to him? Did he beg you to give birth to him? Wesley is very good, you're really blind, worse than dogs. The earth won't stop spinning without Wesley? Just pretending. The earth won't stop spinning without Wesley? Just pretending. The earth won't stop spinning without Wesley? Just pretending. The earth won't stop spinning without Wesley? Just pretending. The earth won't stop spinning without Wesley? Just pretending. After saying that, I grabbed Wesley's arm and walked out of the manor, ignoring Wesley's parents' embarrassment. "Wesley, let's go." Some toads think they're swans, but in reality, they're just plankton in the stinky ditch. It's superfluous for them to even float. Just like that, I took Wesley out of the manor while cursing. At the gate, there were still bodyguards who wanted to stop us, but I glared at them ferocious. Causing them to retreat. Until we returned to our own home, I didn't calm down. Wesley was silent the whole way. He lowered his eyelids and stared at my hand holding his overly delicate face under his messy hair was shadowy. I hated iron for not becoming steel. You're usually so good at bullying people, why were you beaten and scolded at the critical moment? Wesley, what would you do without me? After a good venting, my IQ returned. Crap. I was so disrespectful to Wesley. I secretly lifted my eyelids and glanced at him, but found that Wesley didn't seem to be angry. He suddenly flicked his wrist, his cool palm firmly grasping mine. I was startled, but didn't react. Wesley's lips quirked into a faint smile. His voice was low and his tone lilting, sounding, perhaps, equivalent to amusement. Nancy, he murmured. He suddenly called me by my old nickname. He hadn't used it since I'd become human. Wesley's expression was unprecedentedly gentle and sincere, his dark eyes like an abyss, drawing me in. Stay at the Wesley family manor with me, would you? Me? Huh? Seriously, dude? I worked so hard to prepare the sea, land, and air legions for you. How could you go crazy and just keep me here? Doggy confused, Doggy perplexed. But Wesley didn't seem to notice my bewildered expression. He chuckled softly and let go of me, leaving only a dog to be buffeted by the wind. I was indignant. I hadn't even shown Wesley the 3 legions I'd carefully prepared for him. How could he so easily keep me? When Wesley didn't want me to stay, I tried every possible way to stay. Now that he wants me to stay, my damn Dog King competitive spirit is ignited. No, I have to get my sea, land, and air legions officially recognized by the Wesley family. I found Old Wong again. Woof, woof woof. Old Wong barked excitedly when he saw me. You're finally here. The support team and cheerleaders have already been chosen. When are we going to the Wesley fam? Eiley Manor? Everything is ready. I nodded in satisfaction and squatted down to pat Old Wong's head. At first, he widened his dog eyes in humiliation, but then couldn't help but reveal an expression of enjoyment. Woof! Woof! Why yes, right there, a little to the left. Ah, perfect. Heh, of course. This is the dog petting technique I learned from Wesley. Guaranteed professional, guaranteed comfortable. I petted Old Wong for a while and was about to get up when suddenly a sharp pain shot through my head. I was struck hard. Everything went black. In the last second before I passed out, I faintly heard a man cursing. Damn it, is this the broad? This time, we'll give that Wesley kid a good lesson. I didn't hear the rest. I just thought to myself, what kind of losers dare to kidnap even me? When I woke up again, I was completely bound with rope. If I were still my former self, I would have snapped it to pieces with one bite. But now I had transformed into a human, and even with immense power, I was helpless. Because the kidnappers weren't important, I didn't want to describe their faces. Several big men, all wearing bizarre bandit ski masks. They grinned when they saw I was awake. The little bitch is awake. She's really pretty, no wonder Wesley is into her. Hey, boss, should we have some fun first? The henchmen chattered, but the leader impatiently interrupted them. Fun, fun your ass. We just want to extort some money. If you guys mess her up, you're dead. Don't forget, Wesley keeps a mad dog that can bite a man's neck off. Listening to their words, a sense of pride welled up in my heart. See. I, the Dog King, am so famous. I was very pleased, and with my chin raised, I said to them, since you have some sense, let me go now, and all will be forgiven. But the kidnappers burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Boss, what is this broad saying? Release her, and all will be forgiven? That's hilarious, ha 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 ha. Unexpected. Why, she looks good, but she's brainless. Wesley doesn't have very good taste. Although my IQ is not high, I could tell they were mocking me. I was furious and warned in a low voice, I advise you to let me go, otherwise. The kidnapper patted my cheek dismissively and said flippantly, otherwise what? I took a deep breath. When I prepared to create the 3 legions, the main combat force was definitely the Paw Patrol. Besides biting, dogs also have first-class senses of smell. I specially developed a perfume with a unique scent, and every dog in the Paw Patrol, including me, always carries this fragrance. We spray it before sleeping and spray it after bathing. We're already well seasoned. It's only a matter of time before the 3 legions find me. I just looked at my watch, and several hours have passed. The time is almost up. I looked at these ignorant men with pity. In my heart, I silently counted down, waiting for my 3 legions to come and rescue me. Ha 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 ha, this broad is scared, she can't even speak. As soon as the words fell, I heard the sounds of dogs barking and parrots squawking approaching from afar. I curled my lips wickedly, waiting for the show to begin. But unexpectedly, suddenly the world spun. I turned back into a dog. Holy crap! I thought to myself. I was stunned, and so were the kidnappers. They were dumbfounded for a few moments, and one of them pointed at me with a trembling finger, B-Boss. Aye, does it look like Wesley's mad dog? What the hell? Where's the human? The human turned into a dog? I stretched my body, and the familiar feeling returned. The ropes that were binding me had already loosened and fallen off. Now I was a good dog again. My bright eyes looked meaningfully, suggestively at each of the kidnappers. And just then, my 3 legions rushed in, full of momentum. Running on the ground, flying in the sky, a dark and oppressive mass. Behind the 3 legions was a stretched black Lincoln, which must be Wesley. Following the black Lincoln were dozens of cars, all bodyguards and thugs. A small ruin couldn't hold so many people and animals. The kidnappers were already scared shitless. What the F? My support team swept in like a tsunami. I also grinned and smiled wantonly. With my mouth wide open, I started biting. Next, I physically demonstrated what it means to be a mad dog. Who dares to stop me from going crazy? Left hook. Right hook. Flying kick. Stomping on their bellies, stomp, 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 stomp. Side kick. Side kick. Kicking a skull flat with one kick. 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 Flying kick. I screamed, banging, rolling, howling, biting one kidnapper at a time. Biting one kidnapper at a time. The parrot cheerleaders in the air kept shouting. Idiot, idiot. Waste, waste. Little trash, little trash. The Paw Patrol, led by Ash and Old Wang, bit one kidnapper at a time. Biting one kidnapper at a time. In the chaos, only Wesley, dressed in black, remained calm and unperturbed. However, because the battlefield was too chaotic to prevent accidental injuries, he held a green turtle in his hand. Coupled with Wesley's expressionless face, it was inexplicably hilarious. Soon, the brawl ended. Still feeling unsatisfied, I barked at the fallen and unconscious kidnappers a few more times, wandering around, and then my eyes sparkled as I ran straight towards Wesley. Woof woof woof. Am I awesome? I rubbed my dog head against his pant leg, my tail wagging rapidly. I thought Wesley would be very happy. But unexpectedly, he seemed to have just noticed me and was stunned for a long time. After a while, I felt a cool palm gently stroking my head. Wesley's voice was a little hoarse. "You turned back into a dog?" "Woof, woof, woof." I glared at him in dissatisfaction. "What are you saying? You don't want me to change back." Wesley noticed my thoughts. He took a deep, deep sigh, and then slowly squatted down, hugging me tightly, his head gently rubbing my beautiful fur. I felt like he was trembling a little. "It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back." My dog brain couldn't process it. I had never seen Wesley like this. He seemed to have recovered a lost treasure, fragile and easily broken. I even suspected that if I bit him. I can't suspect that. I'm a good dog, an obedient dog, how can I think like that? I rubbed back against him guiltily, comforting him, telling him I was okay. "Nancy," Wesley stroked my dog hair again and again, his deep eyes filled with a stubbornness I couldn't understand. He said, "Stay at home from now on, don't run around." Me? I don't know when Wesley became so precious to me. My purpose is to bite people for him, to go crazy for him. What, does he want to keep me as a caged bird? What good fortune! I happily with the whole dog exuding a happy atmosphere. I obeyed, and Wesley was happy too. He was no longer that scary expression, and he returned to his usual lazy randomness. "Nancy, let's go home." "Woof! Woof woof!" I responded to Wesley and turned to look at my sea, land, and air legions, signaling them to follow. "Woof woof woof woof." A crowd of dogs, parrots, and turtles responded in unison. Mighty and imposing. I followed Wesley, preparing to go back, when suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a utility pole next to me. Gray, thick as a tree, straight, and clean. After turning into a dog, I was itching to pee on a utility pole again. I just won a victory here, I have to mark it. I happily raised my short legs and ran towards the utility pole. I rubbed it affectionately, barking woof woof twice with a sense of ritual. Then, I turned my butt to the utility pole, raised my right leg, ready to pee. 3, 2, 1. Woof. So good. But unexpectedly, the smile only stayed on my face for a short moment. The next second, another wave of dizziness and vertigo. The perspective changed again. I frickin' turned back into a human. I really don't have a face in him. Or I was peeing with my butt raised and my leg lifted, and I turned into a human at this moment. In an instant, my Paw Patrol, support team, and cheerleaders all turned to look at me. Wesley looked over, too. My brain exploded with a bang. Everything was a mess, and the temperature on my face rose steadily. Wesley was also stunned for a second, and then eagerly strode towards me, taking off his suit jacket and wrapping it around me. He picked me up, holding me tightly, but he didn't look down at me. I wanted to cry but had no tears. I raised my neck and found that Wesley, who seemed calm, had red ears. I originally wanted to woof away my sea, land, and air legions, but for some reason, I felt a tightness in my heart, and I was really embarrassed. In the end, I was carried back to the Wesley family manor by Wesley. Back at the Wesley family manor, Wesley didn't put me down in the living room, but went straight to the bathroom. I looked at Wesley's beautiful long eyes darkening, the jacket falling to the floor, and his breathing became unusual. He put his arm around my slender waist, leaned over and kissed my ear, arousing shivers. "Nancy, relax later." My expression changed from ignorant to horrified, and finally to dazed. The expression on Wesley's face was abstinent and sexy, his pale skin slightly flushed. The broken hair on his forehead was already wet. Damn. Isn't he tired? In a daze, I wailed. I felt like staying at the Wesley family manor was not a wise decision. This is going to kill me. The good news is that I successfully stayed at the Wesley family manor and didn't have to bother integrating into human society. The bad news is, I looked at the sleeping Wesley next to me. I seemed to have entered another big pit.